Good morning. Today is Thursday, July 13th, 2023. And I wanted to do a video basically looking at a website called lookintobitcoin.com. It is a website that basically goes through a whole bunch of different metrics that look at Bitcoin's price action and its on-chain metrics and all this different stuff. So it's a very good resource. So if you go to charts, some of the different ones that you have, like it has a live price chart, of course. Market cycle charts, just looking at some of the historical action, on-chain market indicators, basically looking at what's going on the blockchain, which I think that's the majority of it. Yeah, and then on-chain movements, like where are coins moving at different times. Address balance charts, so looking at which wallets are holding how much Bitcoin. Mining charts, looking at the miners and what their metrics are and how profitable, unprofitable they may be. And then the Lightning Network chart. So Lightning Network is basically another, it's a Bitcoin network, but it moves a lot faster, hence the name Lightning, of course. And then some of the derivatives charts, so open interest, so looking at your options, and then Bitcoin funding rate. So we'll look at a couple today. This is definitely going to be a multi-part video. So this will be part one. So we'll go in order. Market cycle chart. So let's start there. And I think I'll probably keep this to about 10 minutes. So whenever we get there is where we'll go. So this is a 2-year moving average multiplier. So basically the 2-year moving average of Bitcoin's price. So that's going to be this green line. And then there's also, as you can see, a red line right there. So that's the moving average times 5. So yeah, that's up here at like 100,000. So as you can see, yeah, like the 2-year moving average is at 32,000. The 5-year moving average is at, the 2-year moving average times 5 is at 163,000. So basically, as we look at this, as we can see that every time that Bitcoin dropped below this 2-year moving average, it was a good time to buy, and then we went up. And then we dropped below this 2-year moving average again, and then it was, for this entire period, it was a good time to accumulate and go up. We dropped below after coming back down from 2018. We dropped below briefly for COVID, and then we've been down here since April 2022. We fell below that average, and then finally we got up to current day, which you can see we're pretty much touching that moving average. So that's definitely a good sign. A good sign that we could potentially go up. Okay, so let's look at another one. A 200-week moving average heat map. So for the last 200 weeks, like what's the price action look like? And basically this it looks at how far above the moving average these things are. So percent of monthly increase of the 200-week moving average. So this looks like it's 16% above the actually this is 16x, I think. Yeah, so price, the 200-week moving average was at 1,200, and the actual price with Bitcoin was at like 19,000. So yeah, it's about 16x above the actual moving average. And then similar here. So if we look at 11 to 63, we have like this green color, so that's roughly about 5 or 6. So yeah, we're somewhere in here. Again, same old story. Anytime we come back down and touch this 200-week moving average, we tend to bounce off, or it tends to be a good time to buy. It may not bounce off immediately; it may go below, but it is a good time to buy, right? And I do like the color coordination of this. Like you kind of see like these obviously long areas of blue followed by like the mania phase. So once we start, seeing red dots and whatnot, it's like, okay, it's probably time to go ahead and get out. Potentially, right? Again, like in this instance in 2012, we did see red. It could have been a good time to get out there, but once you start seeing it go significantly above that again, you have the opportunity to get back in, but you definitely want to lock in your profit. So same thing here. We had a touch here, and then we kind of moved below, and then we are kind of in the process of now we're ever so slightly above the 200-week moving average. So after spending that time below, I think that's a good indication as well. So another positive chart. Stock to flow model. This is a very famous one. It was made by Plan B. He's a Bitcoin investor and economist. So basically, stocks have stock to flow model as well, and commodities really is what it looks like. So stock to flow is basically looking at how much of this commodity is being produced at a certain time, and how much of it is flowing in the market, and looking at kind of like the circulating supply. So here, the important thing in Bitcoin is like you have these Bitcoin halvings that occur. And I've talked about these in different videos, but every time you have a Bitcoin halving, the supply that is produced on a daily basis is, or per block, is reduced. So if you have reduced supply, you have an increase in price in general. And this was the stock to flow model that had been used. As you can see, it pretty much did follow that for a good while. It kind of deviated a little bit here, but we're kind of on the way back up. And part of that deviation was from the fact that, hey, we had COVID too. So, I mean, it's saying that, hey, we may just range here a little bit for, up to the 40s, 50s, 60s. I think that's very much so reasonable leading into the halving in 2024. And then, we could potentially go up way higher, in the subsequent years. There'll be another halving in 2028, which each halving becomes a little bit less significant. But as you can see, there are multiple times where price runs well above the model, and then there are times that it's below. So I said it invalidated, not that it invalidated. I said that it deviated from the model, but these deviations are expected, right? That's the real data. The model is just, as the name implies, it's a model. It is a prediction, but it's not necessarily what happens 100% of the time. So something to pay attention to. And I guess I didn't talk about it, but they do have descriptions for all of these metrics below. Basically, who created the chart, what it stands for, and like what the thing is. So it's like if you don't know, if you're looking at something you don't know, then that is potentially a good time to go ahead and do a little bit of extra research. What else we got? Fear and greed index. This is another big one that I like to look at quite often. So fear and greed index is basically saying, it's looking at several different metrics if they have them down here. I don't know if they do. It looks at price volatility. It looks at the momentum, like what's the momentum and the volatility within the past like 30 to 90 days. It's looking at different social media trends. It's looking at Bitcoin dominance relative to other currencies. So I think Bitcoin dominance is sitting right at about 51% right now, 51. And then it also looks at Google search trends. So different search trends across the internet to see like, okay, are people actually interested in cryptocurrency right now, or are we at some type of low? So these charts, they can go all the way back to when Bitcoin started, but I think this one just started in 2018. I like the way that they've colored this one. So again, you get to see that you have these periods of red, which is basically fear. As you go over here, like the lower you go, the more fearful people are. The higher you go on the scale, the more fearful, the more greedy people are. So with this, what you want to do, this kind of tells you when is a good time to get in and potentially a good time to get out. So as we saw in that 2020 dip, hey, this is a fantastic time to buy. People were super fearful. And when we had that dip in 2019, super fearful. But then we finally went up, and you see it's green. And then you'll have these periods of yellow and green. You may see a little breakout of green, then back to yellow, but then eventually you go straight up to green. And then all this way up, and until these colors start changing significantly and you start seeing red, like here, May of 2021, that could have been a perfect time to, hey, let's just cool out. Let's see what we got. Once the color starts shifting back to red and you get that fear sentiment, then it's probably a good time to start taking profits. But as long as it's green, hey, keep buying until the party starts to slow. You can see the party start to slow in right here. And then again, slowing right here as you reach the top. Slowing again here as you reach the top. So in 2021, there were actually several different instances where you could have gotten out and taken profit right around the top. And this was like, multiple day periods that you had. Even if you took it out like somewhere around here, that's still pretty decent in my opinion. But yeah, holding all the way down once you've had weeks and weeks of red, it's not necessarily advantageous. Just because again, like this, it's when an object in motion tends to stay in motion. And like you see in 2022 June, we got down to like 6 on the scale, and that's super low at 19. So what we can see now though is like we're kind of coming out. This is like the peak fear right here, and then we've come down here and like we were in like these 26s, 25, 26. We're starting to get into the orange, but now you see like we've broken out into yellow, and now we have this green yellow, and then it's like a green right here. And then I believe that that's going to lead us into, you see the same thing here. The yellow and then the green and then yellow again and then finally green. And then you have like this red and then yellow and then like green. So you're looking at a shift in colors. Like if the colors are staying consistent, that implies that you're not going to see much of a shift in the market. But once the colors start changing on a consistent basis, you start seeing different hues of red and green on this gradient, then that is a good indication that you're going to continue to see some type of price change. So yeah, again, like I said, you can go down here and kind of see what exactly the different things that they look at are. But that's, I think I'm going to stop that right there for this video. I think that's enough. I got through 4 of these charts, so I think there's about 48 of them. So this seems like it's going to be a 12-parter, but that's fine. We'll do quick bites, and then that'll be good. So take each one, take a little look at it, and then we'll go from there. All right. Other side note, Crypto Wealth Mastery is out. You can get it on christalkscrypto.com. It's a comprehensive guide on how to get money in this upcoming bull market. So yeah, take a look at that and see what you like. All right, take care.